Why the elders of Morden congregation violated Amadeus' privacy in order to collect evidence against him, and proceed with his disfellowshipping. Well, once Amadeus has evidence enough that David Woodfield from Epsom had forged documents and that he is a Freemason, they need to kick him out from Jehovah's Witnesses organization. It was ordered directly from the governing body, in the New York headquarters, that a full investigation should be carried out on Amadeus. Their objective? Find out something which could incriminate him, and serve as proof of any biblical wrongdoing in order to disfellowship, and get rid of him forever. Gerrit Losch, Austrian member of the governing body and a long-time Freemason, has stated that Amadeus' exit will be Keen Zurich. That is to say, that there will be no more return for him anymore to Jehovah's Witnesses organization. They first started to inquire his old sister Aurora Organista, who lives in Portugal, to collect anything about him. However, Aurora and the rest of her immediate family are not admissible witnesses. Why? Aurora has a reputation of being a poisoning storyteller. Someone who turned people against people. She also wished Amadeus dead in a street gutter. Something unacceptable for a Jehovah's Witness. Despite the case being reported to the Portuguese Bethel, nothing happened to her. Showing that the elders of her own congregation are also Freemasons and also protect criminals. Her own son is not admissible as witnesses because the whole congregation of Morden had been warned that Daniel Abreu is an apostate. Her 75-year-old mother cannot be a potential witness because there's strong evidence that she might suffer Alzheimer, or even dementia. Then came up the empty brain couple from Streatham. Despite the elders of Morden knowing that both suffers of mental disease, they both told a never-ending number of false stories about Amadeus. Such as that he impersonated other people, or even that he purposed a marriage of convenience with Karina, which was not more than a messy confusion and misunderstanding from the MI5. But that Amadeus confessed to take advantage. They suggested that Amadeus purposed to pass in his criminal law exam in exchange of marrying her, and leave the country. Once the girl was only interested in the job which was offered to her, in exchange of making sex with Amadeus, and taking him away from the country, she obviously declined the offer. Once originally it wasn't spoke that she had to marry him. However, the MI5 insisted so much that she considered the marriage and headed to Streatham to ask the crazy couple if Amadeus was a recommended person for a marriage. That's when the crazy couple made up stories and told several lies to Karina in order to make her step away from Amadeus. It happened by the 16th of October 2018. After knowing what happened, Amadeus confessed that it was the happiest day of his life. But why? First of everything, Amadeus never was interested in her. He never actually proposed any marriage. The MI5 was simply in despair to get rid of him and send him to other countries that they believed in any fairy tale which they heard. They also messed up with Amadeus' grade. In the module of criminal law, Amadeus had an average grade of 70%, which means that he just needed 30% to pass. Once Amadeus refused to join the Freemasons, they instructed the examiner of his final exam to give him only 27 grades, despite his work was good enough for a grade of 46%. Forcing him to resit for the exam on the 26th of September 2018. And that's when the whole confusion was generated. If they hadn't messed up with his first exam, the story of the proposed marriage wouldn't come up, and it wasn't necessary to destroy Karina's relationship with a Wales resident in order to approach her to Amadeus. Once Amadeus realized that that girl had stepped away from him, and was dating someone else, he pretended to be infatuated with her to discourage them of pushing him to other women of the honey trap. The whole situation was mishandled by the MI5, and instead of reaching their goal of sending Amadeus to other countries, it prolonged his stay in UK, increasing the agony of David Woodfield, who was desperate to get rid of Amadeus, and the accusations against him. As a consequence, one of the MI5 leaders was temporarily dismissed. Amadeus' girlfriend even sent emails to members of his family stating his fake feelings for Karina in order to mislead the MI5. His intention was to entertain the MI5 while they placed more than 5,000 women on his way, in order to get involved with him and sending away from the United Kingdom. The plan failed for both. The MI5 didn't quit the honey trap plan, and Amadeus didn't get involved with none of those women. But now let's talk about how the elders of Morden, the Watchtower Society and its legal department breached data protection about Amadeus. Once none of the false witnesses and accusers gave any solid evidence against Amadeus, they decided to do a subject access request to YouTube about a former channel which Amadeus had before. That channel was deleted on the beginning of June 2021, when his girlfriend had warned him that the elders of Morden were snooping on comments posted by the account holder. What Tim Eagles and his teammates didn't know was that such account was a joint account which Amadeus had together with his girlfriend, Anne Bikova. And that many comments posted in there were either written by him, or either by her. Now that the account is not available anymore, it is very difficult to determine who wrote what. Once both had posted comments, sometimes as a reply to videos which were somehow sent to them, in which the title, or the wording on the screenshot was a message. But that is not everything. Once the elders of Morden were not satisfied with the results of such a legal investigation, they did a subject access request to the airline companies in order to stalk on Amadeus' travel history, to see if what the Brazilian prostitutes specially hired to testify against him had said something which could match with his traveling history. Apparently the results were not enough satisfactory. So they decided to ask the Google LLC from the United States a subject access request on Amadeus' email account Zedabone55, in order to stalk on his email messages to see if anything could be used to incriminate him and disfellowship him definitely from Jehovah's Witnesses organization. The question is, do they do this to other Jehovah's Witnesses all around the world? Is this the start of a bad habit which the elders and the governing body will use against any others who they want to get rid of? Do you would accept that the elders in your congregation would do this to you? So, why are they doing this to Amadeus? Once Amadeus did not give permission to access such information. Their actions are clearly illegal, which makes Tim Eagles, his co-elders, and the governing body members who authorized such actions smooth criminals. All this to protect other criminal David Woodfield, who forged documents and supplied them to the court. But this is not the first time that the governing body got rid of someone who knew too much about them, or about any Freemasons inside Jehovah's Witnesses organization. Please consider the case of Walter Salter and Olin Moyle. Both were high officials in the Watchtower Society. Being Walter Salter the head of the Canadian branch and Olin Moyle the legal counsel for the Watchtower Society, and for Joseph Rutherford himself. They both knew that Rutherford had alcoholic issues. and that is a result he used to mistreat some of the Bethelites who served him. Walter Salter even wrote an open letter to Rutherford exposing this issue, in which he was forced to smuggle alcoholic drinks from Canada into New York to satisfy his alcoholic vice. What do you think that happened to both? Walter Salter and Olin Moyle were both disfellowshipped for daring to expose the then Watchtower Society corrupt president. More recently, this absurd and criminal tactic was used against a veteran Jehovah's Witness who worked more than 10 years in the writing department of Brooklyn Bethel. Barbara Anderson was a writer and researcher for the Watchtower Society for more than 10 years, being herself involved on the writing of the book Proclaimers and the Awake magazine. However, when she realized that the Watchtower Society was not doing everything to protect children from being abused inside Jehovah's Witnesses organization, and, by the contrary, the Watchtower Society policy was actually protecting the offenders, being some of them members of the governing body, she decided to give an interview to the NBC TV station. On their program, Dateline. Then she was warned that the governing body on the person of Theodore Girax ordered a full investigation on her with the intention of disfellowship her from the Jehovah's Witnesses organization. As you see, the tactics of the actual governing body, and the elders of Morden are not new, and are not exclusive. Is a typical tactic that has been used for long time, as a way out for the problems created by their membership to a pagan secret society known as the Freemasons. They prefer to sacrifice an innocent witness, rather than expelling the real criminals from the congregation. An attitude which is costing them a lot of money, and a deterioration of their reputation. Once the money which they spend on court settlements regarding the child sex abuse is a response from God to their leaders being involved in a pagan and unholy secret society, as is the Freemasons.